Hello everyone, this is your host Vaibhav. In today's session of Daily Stock, we are going to look at one interesting company, the semiconductor biggie Micron Technologies Incorporated. There is one stock which is showing the signs of revival after hitting very low levels in the second half of last year, and there have been good reasons for its decline and subsequent consolidation on the lower levels. And of late, we are seeing the signs of imminent or you can say expected rally higher. So we will be looking at the fundamentals as well as the technicals of the stock to see how it is poised for the current scenario and what we can do to take advantage of these possibilities. This is the third quarter earnings report. We are scheduled to get the fourth quarter earnings report very soon in 2 days on 27th. The Micron is going to release its quarterly earnings report for the fourth quarter of fiscal 2023. So prior to that, we are doing a preview of where the stock stands, what the forward guidance is, and what to expect from the upcoming announcement, and what are the possibilities, what are the ways in which we can take the stance to profit from these expected volatility. Now, let us go back in time to the June 28th, where the company released its third quarterly statement, the financial statement for the third quarter. And the major highlights were that its revenue was even less than half of it was earning for the same quarter of 2022, but sequentially its revenue had risen just little little over 3.75 billion from US dollar 3.69 billion in the second quarter of this year. It was making loss, and for both the quarters, last two quarters, it has suffered losses. It hasn't been making enough money, and it has also taken write downs on its some of the inventories, so that is reflecting in these substantial losses which we are seeing for last couple of quarters. And the company is expecting the worst to be behind. It is expecting the situation to improve moving forward. So keeping that in mind, keeping that possibility in mind, we have this upcoming quarterly statement, and just prior to that, we are also looking at what the company has said in its forward-looking statements. The company said that it is not expecting major changes in the revenue scenario. It is expecting the fourth quarter earnings to be around 3.84 billion, and with the rider of plus minus 200 millions. The quarterly financial results, the revenues, the gross margin was in negative, and it was quite a decline from the prior quarter. If we look at the third quarter of 2022, the revenues were more than double of what the company has been earning for last two quarters. I think there is some glitch in this Microsoft system update. Alright, now we are back on this page. Now if we look at the capital expenditure and the provisions for it, we see that the things are not looking as bad as they appear to be when we look at these numbers, but when we look at the context, we get the idea that company is likely to see a revival moving ahead, and that is what we are banking on. We have these consolidated statement of operations. So for full details, I would suggest that you go to the investors page of Micron, and from there on you can download these quarterly statements and go into the nitty-gritty of these numbers, look at the final details, and after studying, you will be in a much better position to analyze the recent developments and take into account the broader context. We have seen the semiconductor industry and the major tech players suffer in the second half of 2022, and for last couple of quarters we have seen consolidations, cost cutting on behalf of these major tech companies. So Micron Technologies Inc. was also no exception. Here also the inventory buildup and excessive capacity contributed to subsequent paring down of these capabilities, and that has resulted in the subpar results which have pushed the company into loss-making territory. Now let us look at the technical side of the story. What is happening here? For the Micron stock, as I said, it has been seeing revival of late, and for last couple of months it has been consolidating with upward bias. Now for last 2 to 3 quarters, it hasn't moved much. For major part of this month, it has been simply consolidating in a very narrow range, and now it has corrected from these higher levels. But I still feel that if for the next few sessions, if it holds and doesn't really move much on the lower side and holds somewhere close to $65 or thereabout and spends a couple of days around this level, we can indeed go for fresh investment from the short term as well as from the medium term horizon, as I think we have good technical setup in the Micron from the short term as well as from the medium term perspective, where it has been making these higher highs and higher lows. This time around also it has been consolidating with these upward bias. So keeping that in mind, if the Micron doesn't really decline much and holds above these immediate swing low and spends couple of days, then we can indeed go for the buy. As I said, the $65 level is a level to watch out for, and if it holds and consolidates and spends some time there, we can indeed think about going in for a new trade position with the expectations of further rally higher, with the possibility of it breaching these $74 levels in the coming weeks. So that possibility is there, even if it takes a couple of months instead of couple of weeks. Even I think that will be a fair deal as we have this positive momentum on our side. So keeping that in mind, we can indeed keep looking for opportunity to profit while the Micron Technologies Inc. is consolidating with bullish bias. So that's my take looking at the fundamental as well as technical side of the story. And if you have any query or any idea to share, do write to me in the feedback. And before we wrap up the session, let us also look at the short-term picture. And here, after continuing to move higher and higher, though very slowly, it has in the very short term reversed course, and now it has broken below immediate swing low, thus making a lower low formation. And subsequently, we can expect the next high to be lower than the prior swing high. So it needs to be given more time before it consolidates and finds its footing. Right now is not really the time to get involved for the new buying opportunity from the short-term perspective and as well as from the medium-term perspective. As I said, we need to give it more time. We need to give it space for further consolidation, and only after that we will be in a better position to capitalize in its expected rally higher. So after the results are announced, if we see a peak in the fundamental numbers, and that is also followed by upwardly biased consolidation for next couple of days, maybe early next week we will have it in such a place that we can take the trade. So these are stocks which you should be keeping in your watch list. You should be keeping an eye on and try to look for the opportunities to profit in this volatile week. It will be a bit difficult to profit in this week itself, but if things go as per our anticipation, if its quarterly numbers, if its quarterly earnings come as anticipated with positive forward guidance, and also the stock's price momentum should not turn overtly bearish, and if it is able to consolidate and hold the ground closer to $65 level, then I think that will be a key development for us to get the confirmation. And then as and when we have a favorable risk reward ratio, we will be in a position to go for a new trade, place the trade, and try to ride the rally higher. So that's my outlook for the stock of the Micron Technologies Inc. We have considered both the fundamental as well as the technical side of the story, and now we have to watch out the price action for next couple of days, particularly after the release of its quarterly earnings and subsequent price moves. So that's all from my side for today's session. You can write to me the feedback, and I will be more than happy to take the discussion higher, the discussion forward, not higher. The stock we are expecting to rally higher. Thank you all for joining in. Have a fabulous time ahead. See you next time around. Till then, goodbye.